everybody being here. Roll call. Diane, Jesse Bauer,
Here.
Johnny King, Christopher Williams, DJ Kathy, Brian Malden, Veronica Cordova, Gary Nichols, Iman Montiel, Rose, Antoinette. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, first item is approval of minutes for the February 22nd, 2024 meeting. And have you all had a chance to look at those? And what is the picture made?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted.
Okay, the motion has been made. And Jesse Maurer, second. Veronica Cordova. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say sign. Motion passes. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 4, report from updates from public safety departments. We'll start first with Antoinette, the emergency management.
Right, so, I decided to do a fiscal update, even though we're 1 month shy. So a lot of the information I'm gonna give is gonna not have the June information in it, but it's going to be compared to the full fiscal year of last year.
Okay.
So we'll start off with the emergency management side. Slide. So of course, you guys noticed that we are in storm season. We do expect to be a very active storm season, just as active, if not worse than last year's monsoon season. If you remember last year, we actually had storm spotters who were hanging out in town because of a very high event area. Hopefully the horns will not have that, but we are preparing for it. We definitely had the tornado warning issue last night. We did set up the sirens for the first time since I've actually been in emergency management. I think we set them off once when I was in dispatch before that. So we're going to be working on a tornado protocol. What we do, it works fairly well. John and I will monitor various storm articles, such as our emergency management portal to the National Weather Service, various radars. John goes out and he physically looks at the storm, and based on that, we'll determine on whether or not to set up sirens. Last night we had the trigger of an actual National Weather Service alert saying there was a tornado heading towards Corvallis. So we set off the sirens. A few things that we noticed with the sirens is that we set them off we asked dispatch set them off for 1 minute. Dispatch did set them off for 1 minute. They worked perfectly. Dispatch worked really well. The problem is the sirens for 1 minute aren't long. We decided that we're going to update that to a 2-minute siren. Unfortunately, we can't turn up the volume because just for safety reasons, they are really loud in the street. So we're going to update that. We're going to try to figure out to nail down the actual triggers. Right now, once we get the alert, we'll call either the city manager or the county manager, where it is. Let them know that it's already been set them off. I think that's what we get okay. Then we'll set them off. It is a little bit time consuming. There are possible more efficient ways to do that, but we believe that's probably the best policy way to do it. But we're going to update the policy and get everybody's opinion on exactly the best ways to how they're ready to change it. We're also going to include the children's home.
Christian.
The Christian children's home. They do have a siren hookup that we can set off through dispatch. We're going to get that set off during our Wednesday tests. And if we do set off a siren for emergency, we'll go ahead and get it kicked off at the exact same time since there are so close. Also, we're going to be entering our wildfire season with monsoons. We have wildfires. The rain will grow the grass, lay the weeds, and then it'll completely dry within the next few days. And we have nothing but tinder out in the county. I'll be working closely with Johnny, the county emergency manager, for those removal fires. I'll be a support for him. on those, and he'll be supporting the county and the local fire departments. Next, one, please. Grants, the EMPG grant is due in a couple weeks. So we're gonna worry about that grant application. It's, we apply for that every year. And, it's a very good grant. Of course, the hazard mitigation grant is coming up. That we haven't awarded the hazard mitigation grant currently. We have an RFP that's been submitted to the state. And we're waiting for the response to the approval, getting that RFP out. Once we get that out, we'll hire a contractor. And again, it's a very long process, usually 18 months. And we actually already started behind, a quarter behind because we were awarded really late into the, so we're already running behind, but it's a 3-year grant with a projected project of 18 months. So even though we're behind, I wish we weren't, we still have more than enough time to pick up that slack. Next slide, please. Community outreach. This last quarter, we worked on 100% community. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that. United Way worked with the 100% community project. They find 10 things in our community that we can improve on. Things such as food, youth mentoring, housing. I work on the housing aspect of it. And it's going to be an ongoing project. It was what can we do in 3 months? What can we do in 6 months? What can we do in a year? Each step to try to improve immediately, mid term. And that's still an ongoing project. There's a lot of different people involved. I think there's almost 100 people who were at Easter who worked on this project. Everybody was set up with these 10 various things. And I did the housing part with 4 or 5 other people. We're working on that project. And I think it's a great one that we're going to be able to try to move on. It's just an ongoing project. It's one of those forever projects. You always want to constantly.
When you, I've got a question. So when you get, is there like an end to it to where you come and report, or do people, are they made aware of?
So when we did the community summit back in May 6th, it was, everybody got their groups and each group decided individually what they're gonna do in the next 3 weeks. And we're gonna meet up in that meeting, going to, basically, have made a community promise that we're gonna work on this. And I believe that, we're going to be working with the people who run that in a months at a certain time to get an update on the project. I think it's just gonna be ongoing. Ian and you, or Johnny and I will be looking at Easter next week after. For a tornado, rail, sorry, I can't actually say it's gonna be a drill of some sort. We're gonna be working with them, trying to just improve this. It's gonna be an ongoing, it's gonna be a first in the series of increasing the participation on the drills. So it's just gonna be a little project, I believe. Which work with them, trying to improve their facility response. Cooling sites, we're still constantly trying to work with the Legacy Church, trying to get their, well, the churches in general, their warming cooling shelter for the summer. Cooling stations for the summer. Next slide. Okay, this is risk management part. This is what I said that I'm doing a quarterly or a fiscal year update. For risk management, I do the insurance claims. Of course, the public tort claims are private property damages that they state the city or city employees cost to their private property. Also, we're doing the city insurance claims, which is damage to city property. It could be from motor vehicle accidents. It could be the hailstorm, which actually could be. I do have some vehicles so far that we're going to submit to our insurance company, and workers' comp claims. Of course, you think that normally you report, someone breaks an arm or something like that, but it actually also includes preventative testing in case someone has exposure. So it's not necessarily injuries, it's they make certain that they're okay before something bad happens in the future. So those might affect our numbers, and they have. So I'll show you those here shortly. Next slide. So this is our fiscal year. Obviously, June is not going to be listed on the 2024, so we do have this coming up month. And I do believe that we actually have a tort claim that's going to be coming up during the next month. So right now, you see that this year we've had 14 claims. And these are claims that have actually been processed through our insurance company. And then the year before we had 23 claims. So we did actually go down quite a bit. Also this year, it's 14 filed claims and another 14 potential claims. Claims that we are aware of, things that we may have spoken to the private property owner, but they didn't wish to carry through. Just perfect one of these things. Next slide. City insurance claims. And as you see that we only have 5 this year so far, and we are going to have more. With our storm season, I've already processed one. Right now, it's just 3 vehicles. I don't know if the insurance is going to want us to process those as 30 separate claims or as a hail storm claim. So I don't know if this is going to go up by significant numbers or if I just said simple one, or depending if we have storms throughout the season. And of course, last year, we were looking at most year, we had 9, and this is also be the 8 additional potential.
That's because June was included last year and it's not included this year.
It was included last year, and last year June was also a hail month too. You see that June has 3 for the hailstorms last year, so yeah. And then also the potential claims are valid claims that we chose to not submit them simply because they were below the deductible threshold or something that was so simple that we didn't fix. But yeah, expect that number to go up the 30 and the 5 years. And next slide. Workers' comp. Now, workers' comp right now is sitting at 17 for the year, and it was 11 for the previous year. That looks a lot worse than actually is. As I said, that we do a preventative tests just to make certain that there's no future injuries. 8 of these were a preventative test. And those employees, we made certain they're protected, that we didn't have any future issues. So it is a misleading, you would probably easier to say that there was 1 workers' comp, but everybody came back fine. So that's why that number looks a lot worse than it actually is. If you take that 8 preventative out, we're definitely doing much better.
Sorry.
No, you did great. That's exactly what these insurance coverages are for. We need to make certain that we protect our employees through potential exposures. So I mean, that's what they're for. We want to make certain that they're protected now for future damages. And then the final slide. Thank you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I am looking for questions.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? No.
I do. On the cooling stations for Legacy Church, what does that consist of?
Right now it consists of us supplying beds, cots. We do have a supply of Red Cross equipment, and we have supplied them with 12 cots and blankets just for their stations. We do have to contact them again to make certain that those cots are still in working order and swap out any that have been damaged. But we did start off with giving them the used ones, so if they are damaged, we totally expect that, and we're going to upgrade them to the brand new ones if they have any problems, just to look in future issues.
And that's just for people to come in and have heat.
That is, yeah, that's for when the church chooses to open. We are supporting them, but we are not going to dictate when they open, how they run theirs. We just supply the equipment and they can reach out to us if there are additional issues. But yeah, for now that's going to be, that their plan is to be a cooling shelter during the days, during summer. It's not going to be open in the night. It's only whenever they determine that they're able.
Kind of like how they did with the winter storms.
Exactly, they did, yeah. It's open in that time. The winter was open in the night, when it's colder, so the summer one will be during the day. So it's similar, but yeah.
Okay, and anybody else? So regarding last night's storm and the sirens, I think, like you said, it's been a while since people have heard them besides Wednesday at noon. So that, I don't know if it freaked people out, but I was talking earlier, and this is a real good point, and somehow we need to, I think when the sirens went off, people right away started saying, where do we go? Where do we go? What do we do? And it was brought to my attention, but it's really a good point, is that it's really not the responsibility of the city or the county or anyone else as far as any of our entities, the university, the courthouse, or whatever, to provide shelters for our citizens. But we need to somehow educate the citizens, okay, in case, and for, on the new, they're really good about saying, okay, if you don't have a basement, this is what you need to do, get away from the windows, go to a, a room that's in the middle of the house or wherever you're at. So somehow we need to start educating, and I think we're kind of doing that, is that right?
We're gonna start on that, we worked on that immediately today, because yes, we do need to educate the public on exactly what to do. And we haven't been as educated this season, so we have started today. Unfortunately, just right now it's on Facebook, but we're working with what we can now. Next week, with one of our partners, our first responder partners, is going to try to do a community, or what do they call it? An outreach, a meeting, just to try to figure out how all of our agencies can do a public education outreach to make certain that we get as much education out there, and we're gonna make certain that city, county, Eastern is all involved in that. Try to find the best way, the best information, and then the best way to get that to the public, just as an education, not for like when it happens, this is what we do before it happened, immediately after. This is education.
It's what you do when you hear the sirens.
Yes, yeah, and that's one of the things we talk about, exactly what information, how to handle, but we do not have a public shelter. Members went out yesterday that there were public shelters, people showed up at the arena, they shouldn't have. People showed up at fire departments, they shouldn't have, and people trying to get to the courthouse.
Right.
And it was rumors that were spread on Facebook that we tried to quash. But rumors are rumor, and it's very difficult to quash those, so that's one of the education we try to get out the official information, right, and don't follow.
I know my grandson was real excited because he said, no, we've got it. We're in the hallway. We've got mattresses. And so he was, he's 14. So somehow we need to get it out that, because it used to be where people could go to Easter.
Yeah.
So now they're asking, oh, do we go to Eastern? Where do we go? And they were just like running everywhere wildly, which that is one of the main things that we're not to do, is to go out running around through the city looking for a place to go hide.
That's one of the issues with shelter, because it encourages people to go out into the storm and then go to a place that probably isn't the best prepared for, and then go back out into the aftermath of the storm and go home, right? And they have a perfectly safe shelter. And I understand the whole thing different. And that's the way we try to educate people on how to handle that process when they do have another form of city.
Okay, so it's in the process of working.
It is definitely
Okay,
a process. It was triggered by last night. It's something that we launched before, but we never definitely want to see
That was a good training lesson last night. So, okay, very good. Well, thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments? No. Okay, moving on. Thank you very much, Antoinette. And Johnny. Okay, we're moving on to communication. Janelle comes.
Yes, ma'am. I really don't have a whole lot. For the first time in a while, we're fully staffed. We are at our maximum of employees at 10. I have two that start, one starts on the 9th, one starts on the 10th. I have one that just graduated the academy. And then I only have one more that needs to go. One of the ones that I hired is a certified dispatcher and has 20 years of experience. He's coming from Columbus.
Good job. That's good.
And that's all I have.
Okay, so everything's going good?
Yeah.
Good. Any questions or comments from anyone? Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Janelle. Okay, moving on to item number C, Police Department Chief Williams.
Yeah, ours is pretty short and simple as well. We've got a new hire coming in to get his conditional offer tomorrow. We have a lateral officer from Hobbs. He wound up here with his fiance going to college. He finished his degree. She's still working hers. So that's a plus for us.
Is that the one that tried to be a fireman?
Yes.
It was a little heartbroken having to write that name on that.
I asked you beforehand. We do have the fence up around the police department parking lot now, so we've been leaving it open during the day. Weekdays during business hours, so mail, garbage truck, employees in and out, but then we close it at night so that, especially for Janelle's dispatchers who are there after hours, their vehicles are locked up. Then, of course, we've got the detectives moved over to the Memorial Building now. So that's working out really well for them. Hopefully, we don't have a need for a major case incident to be held over there, so we can find out how well that space works for that. But in the instance that we need some place to set things up away from City Hall or something, it will work for them as well. It's all on the network. We have same conference camera as that one as well as now in there, so it'll work good for those different meetings and everything else. It's got seating for 24, whether it be students or attendees. Of course, if it's round table like this, we can do more than that. Had a meeting, we went to the DOT commission meeting this morning, so work on further trying to get the speed enforcement cameras on the state highway. Hopefully now we get some traction. Spoke with the cabinet secretary and his assistant, and they're supposed to be sending me checklists now, like what we need done, so we can try to finish that. So
How are the cameras going?
they're going very good. I hope to say that they're doing poorly in the future because it means people are
We're still getting used to the fact that
right.
they're out there.
Yeah, there's a little delay in us getting them because the company goes through processes, it reviews them, makes sure that everything looks right to them before they send them to us. So we've got about a 4 to 5 day delay before we get it. So hopefully I can get the first 30 days data. So we can show hopefully a significant decline from the warning period. But it looks like it should be.
But the moral of the story is, don't speed.
Even though it's not school zone.
Yeah, it's still set up for the regular time. And in fact, the great part is that's when most of the violations have been outside of schools.
So remind me, on the sign, because I know people have said, well, I didn't know that they were going on, I didn't know the times. Is it specifically just saying school zone? Or is it saying,
For the violations,
well, the sign letting them know it's like, because a lot of people are saying it's just
Right.
during school zone, right?
it's got the hours for the school zone, which the schools about 2 weeks before kicked off the program said, hey, we need to change our school zone times because we changed school hours. Well, that didn't make any sense to me to try to hope we got signs in time for school to be out. So I've already spoke with Mr. Ontiveros, and he said his rally is supposed to start on the 8th. So after she gets in, I'm gonna sit down with them, try to figure out what signs the city needs to get, because that's a lot of signs for the city to have to purchase for all the different school times for school
So is it
zones.
just listed school times on there though, is what I'm saying?
Yes. The school zone times are listed and the cameras correlate with the times. But it doesn't say that the cameras are only on during school.
Right.
zone times.
Okay, so I think people are misinterpreting because they're saying, oh, wait, it's just during school zone time. Now school's out, so they're not on,
Right,
is what they're thinking.
Well, and the thing I appreciate is
There's
about the way that
the
the
sign
chief
will
and
say.
his staff have handled this is it's completely motivated by community safety. And if their whole goal is to make this community a little bit safer by utilizing this tool.
In fact, DOT in their meeting today said they were looking to start putting the systems in construction. zones. So
Could we look to maybe where it says traffic laws photo enforced at all times?
since we gotta buy new
Since
signs,
we have to
we
buy new
can
signs.
do
And then
whatever.
that way, they know it's not, these are the school zone hours, and then that it's enforced at all times.
We can definitely, we're ordering new signs, we can make
Yeah.
it say whatever.
That way there's the distinguish between
Right.
both times.
So there's no question, like, oh, it's just during school zone, and since school's out, they're not working. Okay,
I mean, it's been in the press releases we put out, it said that it was all the time.
well, and it's word of mouth. You're getting a lot of word of
Rumors,
mouth,
right?
yes. Okay, any questions or anything else, chief?
No.
Okay, I appreciate it very much, thank you. Okay, moving on to item number D, Fire Department, Chief Kathy.
Thank you, ma'am. So we were very blessed this upcoming fiscal year with quite a bit of grant funding. First and foremost, our EMS Fund Act, distribution from the Department of Health should increase a little over 3 times. Based on the work done by many different people up in Santa Fe, including our department, our mayor, that advocated for that specific bill. It should take us from about $15,000 a year to about $55,000 a year. Now, that's not enough to pay for the service, but it does help quite a bit. We also received grant funding of $205,000 for a four-wheel drive ambulance, a little over $84,000 for cardiac monitors, a little over $37,000 for the chest compression devices. We also received $200,000 capital outlay that we're going to couple as our match for the vehicle purchase grant, so that we can purchase one ambulance that comes with a cardiac monitor and a stretcher. We're in the process of determining as a department the specifics that we want, so that we can go out and get quotes from numerous different vendors. And the main factor that's going to be deciding for me is going to be the timeline of when it can be available, because our fleet is aging and high mileage. We also received some federal funding as a large match. Joe Bates worked very hard to try to get a paper for that match for our rescue engine. So excluding the Fund Act, just in grant funding, we received just over $1 million for equipment this year, which is a great start. Doesn't meet all the needs, but we're very thankful and appreciative of that. We're also applying for the firefighter recruitment fund that was before council on Tuesday. We should find out in the next couple of weeks whether or not we'll be awarded for that. It pays 100% of the salary and benefits up to $65,000 for the first year, 50% the second year, and 25% the third year. We are applying for 9 new positions. As y'all are drastically aware, staffing is a critical need for our department and the services we provide. So with council's approval on Tuesday, we begin the advertising process to hopefully get some people hired, because it does go into effect July 1. We're still running all the calls that their department sends us on. We're currently fully staffed. We got a hiring process in the beginning of May, and it was kind of unique because we had 7 applicants and all 7 actually showed up.
Oh.
And that was a nice surprise. The unfortunate thing with that, only 3 passed the physical agility. We're down 1 ambulance right now. It's got a mounting system problem that our one vendor out of San Antonio who's going on vacation will be down to warranty that work at some point. Thankfully, we have Dora's ambulance available that we're using as a backup and all of our equipment into it. Our EMS week town hall went really well. I would encourage you to watch it if you haven't, and please share it. The more people it reaches, the better impact it has on our community risk reduction score for ISO. And as that improves, it decreases homeowner and business insurance and improves our funding. And I'll be glad to try to attempt to answer some questions if you have.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I have one.
Okay,
On the position that you applied for, there's 9. Could they come back and say, hey, we can give you 6?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I applied for the need, based on what we can effectively house. They could come back and say none. They could come back and say 1. I mean, there's 25 million available statewide. The grant process itself is really tailored to meet the needs of smaller paid departments and volunteer departments that are trying to add a paid position or 2. But I also know that if we don't seize the moment and attempt to get the funding, it will go to the departments that really don't need it, as far as the bigger departments that already are far better staffed as far as the FBA is concerned than ours.
It's very similar to how our law enforcement recruitment went this last year. Janelle applied, didn't get anything. I applied for, I think, 7 and got 3, so. But ours was not as good as that one. Ours was just a fixed dollar amount and it's reimbursement, which we're still waiting.
Thank you.
Good, well, good luck. Anytime it's a grant that.
Well, and it shapes up, if we're funded all 9 positions, it's another additional $1 million for the next 3 years. Which is huge. I mean, it would be very beneficial to the city budget, because that's less salaries to have to pay for needed positions and for the safety of our personnel.
So what happens after the 3 years?
Then the city picks up the total portion.
Moving forward.
Moving forward.
Moving forward. But if we are able to get that, then we can hopefully start to budget for that. So
Yes.
when that time comes, then we're ready and prepared for that.
It honestly, it's something that I feel needs to happen regardless,
Mm-hmm.
but this way makes it a little easier on the city to budget for.
Okay, good. Anything else? Okay, does anybody have any other, okay, so moving on to other business, any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of the agenda? Anybody have anything? Yes.
Which you guys will know, you were at the council meeting. We're putting together an animal control committee to work on the new ordinance, so we can get that through. We have Mr. Jake Lopez, Mike Rackler, Ms. Kathy, myself and Laura on it, and they would like some public safety committee members to review the ordinance as well. I was gonna see if anybody wanted to.
I would recommend that it not be city council. Just because
Any other members would like to look it over, help give some advice, so we can get it passed. Happy to take anybody.
Okay,
Try not to stare anybody down.
I'm sorry.
Try not to make eye contact. So it's like staring anybody down.
Everybody looks down.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll reach out to some of the ones that aren't here and see if they works.
chief, would it be beneficial for y'all to have some input as the police department? on this?
Just based off of experience and having to deal with it and things like that. I mean, I don't have a problem with myself or
Or
one of the
representatives. I just, if it would help interagency operations, I think it would be beneficial.
Maybe if there's someone right away that can take one of your public safety spots.
okay.
And the reason, do you want to explain the reason?
Yeah, so we took it to city council. Here's some of the additions we did for anyone who wasn't there. We expanded some of the breeding, boarding and multi-animal permits, updated the fees, we added surrender fees, updated it from PD to city. Added the backyard poultry permit, and then they moved a bunch of sections around. City council had some concerns, that it was too long, they'd like it condensed a little bit. They'd like the poultry changed to hens, concerned about some of the vaccination requirements with rabies. And then to allow dogs to unrestrained in the back of vehicles. Let's go to the next one. So we kind of need to work on the ordinance. We don't want to make it too restrictive, but we have such a bad feral stray population, so many nuisance animals, so much cruelty and animal neglect. Plus a ton of dog bites and aggressive dog reports. We actually had 16 dog bites since August with 60 additional reports. It's so bad that they actually gave us emergency funding for an animal shelter because they felt the city was in an emergency state with their animal population.
Which was that.
$350,000, super nice. If you go to the next one, you can see, even though we've done a lot better, we're still completely overtaken, so we still need to tighten up our ordinance a little bit. Just from April 15th to May 15th, we took in 73 animals. And that's 50 dogs, 23 cats, and you can see that's a ton for a community our size. When you add that by times 12, we pool so many more animals than a area our size should. So we're hoping updating the ordinance to make it a little more restrictive might help in the future, but we're not having quite this undertaking. So
Are you looking to do one giant ordinance or are you looking to do sections?
well, so our ordinance right now, we're just gonna redo all of chapter 7, which I think is 45 different sections. Right now, it's 19 pages, which is actually a small ordinance. I think Clovis is 27 and Hobbs is 43 pages. So we're actually on the smaller size ordinance wise, but if someone would like to trim some stuff out.
Well, I'm just saying, I think if you take and you have your different sections, that way in the future, if there needs to be updates, you don't have to do the entire ordinance, you just do the sections.
That we're
So
getting,
it could be based off of changes in state law or things like that that can throw in the cake.
That'll work, yeah, and so the chapter 7 is 45 different sections. So we're updating them all now, but in the future, you can just take
Yeah.
section 23 and say, hey.
Right.
I'd like to just read that part.
It's
So
just-
whenever you took out all the red that you sent to the city council, that went from 23 to 19.
All that, where everything had been moved and made a
Yeah.
lot bigger. Well, but I didn't know how much bigger it made it, so I didn't want to say a page number and it be off by a lot.
And we discussed that night that it's definitely something that we need.
It is.
You know, because it is out of control, but we definitely need that backing and, you know, in order for them to.
Yeah, and we don't,
And since they were updated.
I think 2009 was the last time it was updated, and then since we can't write our own citations, it has to be detailed enough that judge can stand behind it. But it is a thing of public safety, so if we can steal one more number,
Okay.
we write up with the judge has to.
Right.
With the,
Okay, very good. So we're gonna contact, did you want to contact some of the other?
if you guys have a recommendation of people you might like me to reach out to, if there's somebody who would be interested or good fit perspective wise.
Chief, were you gonna try to get somebody from the police department?
Myself or
Okay.
captains.
Might be beneficial to have a representative from Minnesota since you'll have. That would be two additional to the committee. And then, I mean, if any of the actual public safety committee members don't have on, I would like to stick as well.
If you are interested, please let us know. Okay, anything else?
I would just like to compliment all the departments represented. Staff. And not just public safety, but throughout the city, as you know, eyes of public safety. And it's a difficult struggle during this time, and resources that these departments would be greatly appreciated and.
Appreciate that very much, and we appreciate them very much. Because they know they're working extra hard, and I think a lot of times, unfortunately, we're in the times right now with, social media. And kind of like what Antoinette was saying. When things happened before, it was, you know, kind of word of mouth and then it would die, but when you have it on social media and it just continues and people keep seeing it. I think we're having to fight up against that too, as far as things that are happening within our city, but the employees are just going above and beyond, and we really appreciate them very much.
I'd like to give a water update because that does play
Okay.
into safety.
Yes,
As many
thank you.
people know, we did have a major outage at our Blackwater. To roughly 2/3 of our. Thankfully through a lot of our department, several of our major providers, different companies, emergency management, and just a whole group of people, as well as the community helping conserve during this emergency. The tanks never drop below 25 feet. Sometime over the night, power was restored, the water department worked extremely hard again today, got everything checked. Everything's up and running. We're trying to top off the tanks to get it back to that optimal level. And I'll have a press release tomorrow. Just thanking everybody, but also just notifying. everybody that it's good.
Great. Thank you.
Great help, I'm sure.
It's
Yeah.
the hail, not so much.
Right.
Says Antoinette.
Insurance.
Okay, anything else? Jesse Mauer, anything?
Not for me,
Okay,
the next meeting,
okay, let's look at the next meeting, and we go quarterly. So,
be the end of August.
okay,
Looks like that you could do the 29th. Or the 22nd. I would like to request to move the meetings back to the council chambers. This room is not equipped recording wise to do these. And we're starting to hear complaints about the quality of the recordings
okay.
of these meetings. So I'd like to move it back to the Memorial Building, if at all possible.
Okay, the 29th.
22nd or 29th.
Okay, so we normally, I think, have been meeting on the Thursdays?
Yeah,
Do you want it on the same week as council? Council,
yeah, council would be the 27th.
Probably.
We can go for the 22nd. It's a Thursday.
what week is the third?
Oh. Yeah, forgot all about that.
Because it's usually the third week in August, right?
Oh, let's not do it on top of that.
I mean, we can always shoot for the 22nd, and if something comes up, we can change.
Or we could push to the 5th of September. That's a Thursday.
As long as it's after our new city.
And that's in the in between. Let's go with September 5th.
The 5th.
Because that way it's the beginning of school, there's just so much going on, there'll probably be more reports. And the fair will be over with, it's after Labor Day, so let's do September 5th. 19th and 25th.
Yep. So September 5th, 5 PM, Memorial Building.
5 p.m.
It's not that last week.
So moving it to September would make that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll send out a calendar item, and if anybody wants to attend by Zoom, it'll be there.
Very good. Okay, anything else? Very good, guys, thank you so much, thank you for being here, and if there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.